Awesome. Network issue. Let us assess. Greetings, guys. Welcome to this program. Great people of Biafra, welcome to this program. If you are joining us, share the video and let others to join. Share the video. If you are just joining, share the video and let others to join. We're going to talk about the case of Nnamdi Kanu, which the federal government finally filed what they call arrest my case. You know, the federal government finally, of course, so many of us does not know what is the federal government, this news. So many of us does not understand this news. So that's what I'm going to break down for you right now. Finally, in the last 10 years, finally, the federal government says, closes the case against Nnamdi Kanu in their alleged terrorism trial. Now, what does this mean? Remember, I am going to read the case for you, how the last court proceeding went, and I'm going to explain it to you how and exactly what we're expecting and what next to be done. Because when the federal government closes the case, that simply will basically, probably you'll be confused that the federal government has closed the case. What next? Yes, that is an important question that everyone should be asking. What next? Now, the most important thing is that in the last 10 years, right? 2015 to 2020 is 5 years. To 2025 is 10 years. In the last 10 years, this case has been lingering around. And then the government has been, you know, pushing up different cases. Each and every time there is a court proceeding, the federal government will come up with a new plan. The federal government will come up with a new strategy to make sure they continue to delay justice, to make sure they continue to delay the court proceedings, because they know that they have no solid case against Nnamdi Kanu. So, finally, that is the reason why I said, finally, they eventually closed the case. What does that mean? First of all, I want to welcome you wherever you are joining us from. Welcome to this program. Like the program, share the video. Whilst you are joining us, let us actually, understand the meaning of these legal words that was used that might be confusing, so many of us. Let us break it down, and now you will understand exactly the outcome you will be expecting, or the next move that you will be expecting that the federal government might be making. Pay very good attention. We are going to talk about other things that are happening around the world, but we are focusing our attention on this so that you will understand the terms used in the judicial system, or the legal terms that was used in that case. First of all, I am going to go through that, case. I'm going to read it for you. Of course, some of these cases are actually out there in the public domain, but I'm going to read from the one I have, which states, Arise News, the federal government closes case against Nnamdi Kanu in alleged terrorism trial. And I saw this same case in the BBC. I saw it in so many media outlets, and they are reporting the same thing. So first of all, let's actually go through the case and how they come back to close the case that they have established, or the case, how they came back to, close the case. And what does that mean? The federal government has closed the alleged terrorism case against Nnamdi Kanu after the testimony of a DSS officer. The federal government on Thursday closed its case in the ongoing terrorism trial of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. Now, Chief Adeboyege Awomolo San, who is leading the prosecution team of the federal government, made the announcement after the fifth prosecution witness, PW5, identified as Triple E for security reasons, was discharged from the witness box after he was cross-examined by one of the Kanu's lawyers, Onyechi Ibazu San. According to Awomolo, the prosecution was satisfied that from the avalanche of the evidence tendered, including broadcast of activities of the leader of the pro-Biafra nation, the government has sufficiently satisfied the need to close its case. All right? Now, I therefore close the case. That's the, stating, under oath or under the, in front of the judge, stating, I therefore close the case, he said. Reacting, the lead defense counsel, Chief Kano Agabi, informed the court that they would be opting for a no-case submission. That's another legal term that we need to break down for you to understand exactly what does that mean. So, which will be filed in due course. Earlier, in his evidence in chief, the fifth witness, who is an officer of the DSS at the headquarters in Abuja, said he was directed to lead a team of security officers to the southeastern region of the country to obtain record of activities that occurred between 2020 and 2021 relating to the NSAS protest. When I read this passage, I started laughing, because it sounds so crazy and unprofessional, because we know where the NSAS protest was actually targeted and what was the motive of NSAS protest. Because by this time I come across this, you ask yourself, is this really what these guys got? Is this really the reason why these guys has been postponing the case, presenting different types of, polluted evidence or crazy evidence that does not actually, that it cannot be admissible, before the courts. Now, so look at that. According to the witness, his assignment included obtaining record of public properties that were destroyed and death certificates of security officers who died during the NSAS protests. Crazy, right? Because, first of all, you will ask yourself, who initiated NSAS protest? NSAS protest was a kind of a protest that actually, spiraled up during 2020, I think October 2020, when the, group of people or group of disgruntled Nigeria, due to the activities of the law enforcement officials against the ordinary people or civilians, how they are, maltreating the civilians, what you call police brutality. How SARS was unaliving people for no cause. How SARS will see you with a laptop and they will take you and they will unalive you and sell your organs. These are the things that transpire during this period of time and it went out of hand, that SARS will take you because of your hairstyle. Maybe if you have a hairstyle like mine, SARS will take you and go and unalive you. Sometimes harvest your organ, dump your body in a river. These are the things that the SARS, did to our people. And eventually people of Nigeria who were disgruntled by the activities of these SARS officers decided to march against that activities, and they call it EndSARS protest. And this has nothing to do with our agitation, has nothing to do with the activities of Nnamdi Kanu, and has nothing to do with IPOB activities. Therefore, now, but if you look at it, you will understand that there's so many things transpired during that EndSARS protest, such as when, I am not reading, right? I'm just trying to analyze, bring our refresh our memories and the memories of those who are interested in this, case. So during that time, when the protest was ongoing, there was no way for the government to intervene because they saw the determination of the youth and the probabilistic nature of the protest spiraling into revolution. So they decided that no, we cannot sit back and watch such protest spiral into something else that scares the government of the day. The government of the day decided now we are going to find a way to use brutality in order to address the protest instead of trying to negotiate and dissolve SARS, which has been, the weapon used to reduce the number of youth in Nigeria. So after that, the government decided to set up what they called a faction of the protesters. Those criminals that was dropped off, we saw it, everyone saw it. They dropped them off. After dropping them off, those criminals started creating mayhem in the name. Just like that I always say that they use factionalism to destroy every movement that is going to gain traction or that will going to make sense. They use factionalism to destroy it. They drop off their criminals. Those criminal elements started actually, misbehaving, destroying properties and all that. We saw that, the protesters saw that, and they label it that it is the protesters that are doing such thing in order to send military to come out there and unalive them. Whilst this protest was going on, Nnamdi Kanu examined the situation and he noticed, based on how he obtained his information from the ground zero, and he decided to inform the protesters that your life is in danger, that they are going to send military to unalive you. Did that happen or not? It did happen. So it was not exaggeration. So when the government want to use EndSARS protest to actually, bring up in a court room, they should also remember to announce exactly the commission of inquiries that was established to investigate the EndSARS protest, the brutality against the protesters. What was the outcome? And those who lost their life, where are their bodies and their family members? Of course, the government of Nigeria did not give account of that. And the protesters decided to forget, because it doesn't take long for Nigerians, typical Nigerians, to forget, what they have gone through in the hands of the government. So that's by the way. In that regard, so when Nnamdi Kanu informed the youth that you are going to be unalived, now the youth was unalived, and the youth decided to change they decided to change the protest into, defense. They moved from peaceful protesting into defense mode. And defense mode, you cannot tell me how to defend myself. And you cannot tell me, as my friends and families are actually out there protesting. I am doing broadcast and I heard that they are being shot at. I cannot hold myself on how to tell them to defend themselves. I can even tell them, if I have access to weaponry, I will tell them where to get it and defend themselves, because I care about them. They are human beings, and the right to life is something you cannot actually, take away from anybody. Right to life or right to self-defense. So They were protesting peacefully. Government actually flare up confusion and decided to come there to shoot at them. Sporadically, we saw that. So after that, they are now telling Nnamdi Kanu that he is the reason why the protesters, the NSAS protest happened. Let's continue to read. Long story cut short. Now, Triple E was then shown 3 documents of the report of the NSAS assessments, the list of officers that died, and the death certificates of officers. Following his confirmation, his lawyer sought to tender same in evidence. Ibai Azu, however, informed the court that the evidence or that defense team would register their objection at appropriate time, whilst the documents were subsequently admitted and marked as Exhibit PWD2, PWD2A, and PWD2B, respectively. A summary of the documents revealed that a total of 128 policemen, 37 army officers, and 10 DSS agents were unalived within the period. Similarly, a total of 164 police stations were destroyed, as well as 19 facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, destroyed. Now, when the government decided to use force on the protesters who are actually respecting the law of the country by exercising their rights stipulated in 1999 Constitution, according to Section 36, Section 34, or Section 37, which stipulate the right right to movement, and how it states that the Nigerians, you have a right for freedom of movement. So then, in that regard, and you see Nigerians exercising their right to self-determination or right to freedom of expression, which is still also stipulated in 1999 Constitution. Now, they were exercising this right. At the end of the day, the Nigerian military came to take away that right by force, which means they are rendering you illegal whilst you are expressing your right that is stipulated in Nigerian Constitution or recognized by Nigerian law. They took that law away from you because they believe they can, and which led to the probability of self-defense by the protesters. Now they are now saying that Nnamdi Kanu is actually part of it, which is so crazy. Now, under cross-examination, Triple E, which is the witness, admitted he was not involved in the investigation of the crime allegedly committed by the defendant, but investigated the fallout of the NSAS protest, which the defendant enabled through his broadcast. Crazy. Crazy and stupid. Crazy and stupid. Now, because if you ask that the witness, if your brother was there and the military come out there to unalive them, what is he going to say to his brother? He will say to his brother, run, or if you have any means of defending yourself, you should not die. That is not a bad thing to say, dude. It is not a bad thing to say, to defend yourself against aggression. You never committed a crime. You never looted anything. You never steal anything. Your protest was a peaceful protest until the government decided to make it violent. So if they shut you down like that, that means you are not a citizen of that country, or you do not possess a right that is stipulated under the Nigeria Constitution. So they are violating the right, that they are violating Nigeria Constitution in the name that they are stopping a protest. So you have the right to defend yourself, because that's what placed the protesters into the defense mode. And you cannot tell a defender, someone who is actually has a right to life, as stipulated in Nigeria Constitution, how to defend themselves. So that is another thing. So next one is that Ipazu. So this is I think it's the defense attorney, who says, so when people destroy property in Osun State and Lagos State during the NSAS protest, you are saying that they did that because the defendant asked them to. A good question. A very, very important question. So, are you saying categorically that the NSAS protest issue is a Biafra issue? Very, very vital question that the witness will not be able to answer, of course. Then he responded, which is triple E. My assignment was not to investigate Biafra. My assignment was to investigate the NSAS issue, to which the defendant incited the public. Just like I said earlier on, that you cannot tell someone who cares about his people how to defend themselves. You cannot want to unalive me and tell me how to defend myself. That is not done. As long as you want to unalive me legally, because what Nigeria military did was illegal. You cannot use military to stop a protest. You have civil defense. You have a police, which are peace officers, which are supposed to be peace officers, not brutal officers. Military is actually violent officers or brutal officers. Police is supposed to be, even what do you call that, metro police, not metro police or traffic police or all this type of police. They're supposed to be peace officers that are supposed to attend the protest and try to actually bring calmness to the protest and make sure it does not spiral to something else. But they sent violent, and the violent decided that they will meet violent. You cannot tell people how to, because they are protesting against police brutality now. Police now came to brutalize them, or military came to brutalize them, because every law enforcement agencies are there to brutalize Nigerians, believing that Nigeria does not have right to live. Where is my... Okay. Now, Ibazu also asked the witness, who is talking a lot of jargon. No wonder this case is getting what it's getting. Now, Ibazu asked, have you heard of Aisha Yusuf? We know Aisha Yusuf was one of the active members during the time of that NSAS protest. Very, very intelligent and vocal woman that is also concerned about the happenings in Nigeria. I respect her so much. She's an enthusiastic woman. So have you heard about Aisha Yusuf, one that led the protest? the triple E. Yes, I've heard about her. Ibazu, is she Igbo or from Abia State? I have never investigated her, so I don't know. That is exactly what they were advised to keep on saying. I don't know. Bullshit. That is so stupid. You don't know. You don't know your citizens who are actually vocal. You don't know your vocal citizens, human rights advocates. You don't know them. You don't know their biography. Yet you call yourself a DSS officer. Do you know the meaning of DSS? DSS is the Department of Security Service, or Secret Security, SSS. These are the people who make sure that every intelligent report is assessed. So these people say they don't know Aisha Yusuf. That is crazy. I won't blame them. I won't blame them. These are a bunch of illiterates who are actually, integrated into force, that they don't know their assignment. They don't know what they're supposed to be. It's supposed to be their duty. You don't know about Aisha Yusuf, the person that almost contested for Nigeria President 2020. Are you aware she almost bought what do you call? She almost, contested for Nigeria presidency election 2020, and the DSS officer says he doesn't know her. That's super crazy. That is how they make themselves fools, yet they are intelligence, group of intelligence personnel in Nigeria. Now let's continue. Ibazu, are you aware the NSAS protest was chiefly against police brutality, especially with the SARS faction of the police? The response was that there are usually two causes of an insurrection: the open causes and the underlying causes. Bullshit. Police brutality could be a secondary cause of the protest. The real reason for the protest was because some subversive elements incited the public against the government. In this case, the defendant broadcast was one of those underlying causes. Hey, DSS does not know that there is difference between agitation for self-determination or secession and police brutality, which everyone felt the spikes, including the celebrities joined the protest. I never knew that the Nnamdi Kanu has this power to an extent that all the celebrities in Nigeria heard his voice and came out and protest. Well done. At least that is to show that Nnamdi Kanu is even more important than the president of Nigeria or the governors of Nigeria. Can't you see? Can't you see? I never knew that he possessed this power. Well done, DSS, for telling me, because I never knew. And he claimed that is Nnamdi Kanu who actually caused the NSAS protest that was actually happened around the whole world. And Lagos was the epicenter. Lagos State, which you know that Yoruba people does not like Igbo people. How will Yoruba people who does not like Igbo people stand up and protest? Some of the Hausa people even protested. And the Fulanis now rallied to, against the protesters. So we know exactly what happened. So they say that it wasn't Nnamdi Kanu. Wow. Wow. Nnamdi Kanu, do it again, please. Bullshit. So he said that the Nnamdi Kanu is the one of the cause, and then police brutality is one of the underlying causes. So now, Ibazu, what organization is the defendant allegedly leading? We say IPOB. Is IPOB concerned with happenings in Lagos, Ibadan, Ile-Ife, Abajo, etc.? I don't know. Police. Hi, crazy. This is police. These are security operatives that will lead you to win the war against terrorism. Security operatives that doesn't know. Ibazu drew the witness attention to page 565 of the document, which was a report about what happened in Osun State during the NSAS. Stating that one line read, no life was lost in Ekiti State. Ibazu said, is Ekiti State in Osun? The witness said no. First time he said no. Ibazu pointed out that from page 1668 of the documents, which stated that the report was about destruction associated with the NSAS protest, adding that from page 669 it had an addendum which read associated with IPOB ESN activities. Ibazu asked him, why is this? He said he doesn't know. He says he doesn't know. So now, that is exactly the last piece of this document, which led, that is the last piece of the Nigeria government presentation, which led to what they called federal government closes case against Nnamdi Kanu in alleged terrorism trial. Now, let's actually break it down. Let us actually break it down. When the federal government decided to say that Nnamdi Kanu was the one who incited the NSAS protest and it happened that the whole celebrities joined force in solidarity with what Nnamdi Kanu says. That means there is a case there against the Nigeria government, since he said it, and the celebrities who have their own followers, who are on their own, who are not feeling the spikes of whatever Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for, decided to join. That means there is a case against the federal government and their police. So that is number one. Number two is that they presented that case. And why did they say that they have closed the case? And what does that mean in terms of law language? It simply means I rest my case. That is what that means. In a simple word, or in a layman term, it simply means I am done presenting everything that I have in the bag against this man. Therefore, I rest my case. Now, after resting your case, the judge will go, the defendant will now file a befitting response towards your case that you have presented over 10 years. Over 10 years, almost, in fact, almost 11 years that the federal government took to actually gather all this evidence. 11 years. That is violation of human rights. You took 11 years to gather this evidence, and finally, after 11 years, you claim you rest your case. That is the meaning of the federal government closed the case against Nnamdi Kanu. So, each and every court, there is no court case that they will say, no, we have a new evidence, we have a new witness, we have a new that, we have a new this. So, they have rested their case. So, this is all they have against Nnamdi Kanu. Therefore, it is now time for them to play the blues. The blues will go this way. The defendant lawyer, which is Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, will file a report to state whether or not there is a case in their own perspective that Nnamdi Kanu have, based on the evidence or witnesses that the federal government has presented to the court, before the court. Now, eventually, if they present that, if the court decide that no, we agree with the lawyers that there is no admissible evidence that will tie or that will suggest that Nnamdi Kanu acted or committed an act of terrorism or incitation of violence, and the judge will decide to say, for this, I will actually do, he will say, I will sentence you to 2 days imprisonment, I will sentence you to 3 days imprisonment, but because you have served 10 years, we are sentencing you to 1 day imprisonment. And now, that is how this case is supposed to go. In a very, very developed and country that respects the human rights and the law. So that's how it works. But now, in this regard, I can categorically tell you the reason why the defense attorney decided that they are going to file what is called no case submission. What is no case submission? No case submission is a simple procedure whenever your whenever a case like this, or in a criminal trial or proceedings, you find a defendant who once the I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back. So, once the prosecutor are done and say, I rest my case, the next move is for the lawyers to assess all the cases and evidence provided to know whether or not it can stand before the judge, or if there is any, loopholes that they will get in order to file what is called no case submission. And there is a loophole, a lot of it, because all I hear is I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, because follow-up question comes with I don't know. That means there is no admissible evidence that is presented before the court of justice or before the court of law that will incriminate the defendant. Because if you look at it, or the accused rather, if you look at it, you will understand that most of the things they presented are actually theory. Everything that the Nigerian government presented before the court is theory. There is nothing that is solid evidence they can present in that the judge will look at and say, no, this is worth, looking into. That's why the defendant, a lawyer, decided to say that they will file no case submission. In court context, this actually generally refers to what you call a legal procedure where the defendant or accused person will basically say that in all the case, or they will write it or present a case formally, submitting that in all the case, there is no prima facie. Remember what is called prima facie, Prima facie is something that you have seen first, evidence that you have seen to establish the case. In all that the Nigeria government presented, there is no prima facie to obtain from it. So there is no evidence to make the case stand. Therefore, if Agabi, what do you call the lawyer? Is it the judge? When they file these documents and submit it before the judge will now determine that indeed there is no case submission because there is no evidence that is going to stand for them to sentence this man. Therefore, the case is discharged and acquitted, or this man is free to go home. Or based on the case we have actually seen, I believe that there is something in their case. These are the two things involved. But based on the case that they have seen, I have never seen in this whole whole wide world where someone is sentenced based on theory. I said I am in a meeting. I will call you back. So, there is no evidence, there is no part of the world that has ever sentenced somebody with a theory. Because what they have presented there is absolutely theory. There is no solid evidence. They said, he said, I don't know, he don't know. They said, that's there. Even things that doesn't make sense, they added it in time wasted strategy. The only thing I can tell you that Nigeria government achieved in this case is time wasted strategy that they use. That is the only thing they have achieved. Time wasted strategy they used in order to put or to do their political manipulations and the election manipulations. That's exactly what they have achieved in this case. You cannot use this. So based on what I have just read here, you cannot use things that I just read here as an evidence to sentence an individual, because what we saw is a theory. It cannot stand before the judge, except if the judge is cognitive biased, or except if you that are listening to this case presentation is cognitive bias. That is the only way this case will take a U-turn against the defendant or against the accused. Because everything we read here cannot be admissible in the court before the judge. Those are the things I have seen here. Whether or not you like me or whether or not you like how I present my own analysis, it does not make any difference. The truth of the matter is that Nnamdi Kanu should be discharged and acquitted now, because if they decided they want to go through theory, if the judge decided that he will be cognitive bias or he will be law bias, that he want to go with a theory and without a solid proof that will be admissible in the court of law to jail this man, then you will now invoke the issue of jurisdiction. I don't know why the judges haven't actually invoked that, because the issue of jurisdiction is still supposed to be one of the bone of contention, and the issue of extraordinary rendition. Those are the things. So whichever way they take it to, I know and I can categorically tell you that no one has ever been charged with terrorism with theory. In theory, no one has ever been charged with terrorism in theory. Because theoretically, they presented a good theoretical case. But realistically, there is no case there. There is no case. And this theoretical case that Nigeria government presented is laughable. It is like a drama. Because one of the things that, most of the things that they have presented, the world was there to see. So if the judge that is actually the judge that is handling this case, if he wants to be remembered for a good services as a judge that is unbiased, I can categorically tell you that his resolution will be that he will have no objection for the lawyers for the filing of no case submission, because indeed there is no case submission in this regard. Therefore, the accused is discharged. And if he wants to be a better lawyer, he will discharge the accused and ask the federal government to actually compensate the accused for violating his human rights and detaining him without a solid evidence to back up their case against him. That's how a good judge will put it through. I know we have actually did a lot of digging and a lot of analysis towards this case based on what is out there, but this is now the final information that we received based on this case, and this is exactly the trajectory this case must go, or should go, or is going. It is the end of this case. For those of you who will say to me that all my predictions does not work, we're not doing prediction. We're following Constitution of Nigeria. We're following the law. It is not a prediction, boy. One thing you should understand is that every court proceedings, you don't do a prediction in court proceedings, because some of you just listen and you don't pay attention. I don't do prediction. I follow the algorithm and I follow the law, how it works. So it is not a prediction. In case if you don't know, I say it again. I don't do prediction. I follow algorithm and I follow the case and compare it with the cases in the past. So that's what I do. So that is exactly what I'm saying. This is how the case should go. If the judge is not biased, if you are not cognitive biased, based on what you have heard as the evidence or witnesses that, presented their case in the court, this is how it should go, because it's all about theory. It has no basis. It has no basis. Someone speak in London and someone heard it in Nigeria and start NSAS protest. Bullshit. That's what I call it. So I don't do prediction. So let's watch and see exactly how it is going to present itself, because we continue to test the competencies of Nigeria judges and the competency of Nigeria judicial system. Whether we will have anything to write home about it, that's what we are doing. I know that it never worked for anybody. It never favored anybody. So we continue to see what we are going to write in the history. The competency of Nigeria judiciary. Tested and it failed. It failed to pass. Nigeria judges tested and it failed to pass. Remember, Binta Nyako was actually delayed this case for the last 10 years. Delayed this case in the last 10 years. Where do you think this case, or where do you think in the judicial society, where do you think Binta Nyako will find herself? Number one, she was recused because she is biased. And a judge that is biased is basically, they are cutting their ranks. He is not biased because Nnamdi Kanu is his sister, is his brother rather. He is not biased because Nnamdi Kanu is the husband. He is not biased because Nnamdi Kanu is his enemy, is her enemy. No, he is not biased for any personal reason concerning she and Nnamdi Kanu, but he is politically biased. He brings politics into judicial system, which is not proper thing to do. That's why he is biased and he recused herself. So that is a demotion to his curriculum. It's a demotion to his curriculum vitae. To her curriculum vitae, rather. She's a woman, right? So it's a demotion to her curriculum. So when we are talking about this, we are not making predictions. We follow the law as stipulated. So therefore, this is where I close my case, or I rest my case until we hear the outcome of no case submission. Until we hear the outcome of no case submission, we will know whether or not I rest my case here, or we will follow the case, continuously. But for now, I rest my case. Now, coming back to what is happening around the world, which is the reason why so many of us are divided today. The event that is taking place in the Middle East, I can categorically tell you that we have been chanting and supporting the state of Israel and the people of the United States for their activities and for their actions, especially the current president, Donald Trump. And even to an extent, some of our people protested just in solidarity with Donald Trump. In 2020, some of them got unlawfully arrested for the sake of protesting or in solidarity with Donald Trump. But what impact did it make in our struggle? Nothing. Immediately when the president went into the office, what he does, he started deporting people from the United States, especially the black and brown people. Now look at it. In that regard, you will understand that every of his activities, it is not in alignment with what his campaign was. That is secondly, and we have been having faith that he will hear our cry, he will hear our protest, he will hear our self-determination and everything, and he will eventually make a difference in our struggle. And we've been waiting and we've been hoping for international community for the last 10 years, more than 10 years. We've been hoping that the international community will hear us. International community under the European Union or under the United States will hear us. None of them heard us. None of them made a move. Instead, our case continued to get worse and exacerbated by the activities of Nigeria. Sometimes you find Amnesty International writing junk against Biafrans. Sometimes you find many of these international organizations, the so-called NGOs, writing junks against us. These are from the West. These are from these people that we see and continue to wait patiently that they are the God who will come for my Savior or for your Savior, which we have waited over a decade and it never happened. This European God never came to save us. Now we have seen what is transpiring around the world. We saw how Israel handled themselves with Palestine. We saw what happened there. And Palestine is just like us in Nigeria, looking to establish our territorial integrity and to be respected and to make decisions on our own. And you as a freedom fighter, you saw that act against these people and you decided, no, I love it because I love Israel, because Israel was recorded in the Bible. You are super crazy and stupid. This is like a slave scene where another slave is being buried with a digger and they say, no, do it. The same thing is going to happen to you. If you don't protest against bad thing will come to you. One thing is not about, we know, we understand that the world is like a jungle. We are strong people prey on the weak people, but you can never continue to accept that you are weak. We are not weak. Even if you are weak, you are not stupid. Even if you are stupid, you cannot lose your humanity. Even if you lose your humanity, you should understand that one thing, if you cannot join hand to stop brutality of one, this, group of people brutalizing the whole world. They can invade you. They can do anything they want at any time. Who gave them the power? Who gave them the right? They are not going to save you. So if they cannot hear you for 1 decade, you've been chanting and supporting them for even all the atrocities they have committed with impunity against every other person, and you continue to chant behind them and say you rally with them and say we support these people, we support these people. I tell you, you have nothing to lose. When you go the other side, they will know that you are not suffering from Stockholm syndrome, except if you are indeed suffering from what is called Stockholm syndrome. I can categorically tell you that the status of the country of Africa that has been established by these same people cannot change by these same people. It can only change by the status of our mind. It can only change by the way we actually, play our own games. And how do we play that game? Look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso rejected the West and rejected everything about them, the imperialist activities. And he took over and secured his territory and gained back his territorial integrity. Today, Burkina Faso is one of the countries that people want to go there and invest. Coca-Cola just invested more than $60 billion in Burkina Faso because they could see the trajectory where the economy is going. And they are not running around Europe to go and beg for money. No. They are not running around IMF to go and beg for money. No. They are utilizing what they have. They are trading on what they have and building their economy. And some of you who are so naive and gullible believe that the help will always come from the person who placed you in the problem at the first time. That is crazy for us as black people to believe that help that will liberate us is coming from the same people who put us in captivity. You must be naive and gullible. I have actually followed that. I was part of those who believe it will come that way, but eventually I've been following the geopolitics and trajectories that it goes and how they handle themselves in the, in geopolitical tensions or quagmire. You will understand that these people cannot actually solve your problem. Instead, they will exacerbate your problem. So why then are you supporting the people, in fact, not your potential enemy, your problem? You're supporting your problem against your potential friend. Against your potential friend. Because most of the time, some of the things that the mainstream have told us in the past is that the people that are actually named the bad guys today, when you look deeper, you find out there is nothing bad about them. Historically, they have not done nothing to prove them bad guy. Now look at what is happening in Sahel region of Nigeria today. Sahel region of Africa today. Look at what is happening. Do you know how the impact of terrorists was actually exacerbating the economic instability in the Sahel region? Prior to the time, French military troop came into Sahel region and the US troop came into Sahel region. Do you know what it was like with terrorism activities, especially Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso? Now let us contrast from that time and now. You find out that when you go around those areas, you find out that all the terrorists in those areas, prior to the time that Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso took over government by the juntas. The juntas, military juntas took over the government to find out that they have secured their area. All these terrorist organizations, they are moving towards south. They are on top. They are moving towards south, which is Nigeria. They are in the northern Nigeria today. Benue State, they are all over northern Nigeria because that is where they have olive branch. Remember, when this international organization and their military were there, they were not making that stride against this insurgency on the Boko Haram. But today, those terrorists are running. Where are they running to you? Because they know you don't have political will. You don't have a leader who possesses a political will to eliminate the insurgency of terrorism in your area. Instead, you have a political, slave who listen to international organization who will think that international organization like NGOs will say, hey, you're committing human rights, you're violating human rights. Not about that even. Because some of them are not free because they know that the way they got into power, if they decide to take things, do things that will help the economy to grow, that the international organization will write against them and they will be prosecuted one way or the other because they have a leverage against them. Now, think about it when Goodluck Jonathan was in position of leadership. You understand that Goodluck Jonathan didn't go in there through fatherism or godfatherism or through sponsorship of someone or external influence. He went in there by accident, which no one ever believed it was going to happen. And he was not a grassrooted politician. That's why Goodluck Jonathan was able to bring the economy of Nigeria to the best in Africa. Do you remember that? In case I refresh your memory. Now you will understand that there is nobody who has a political, background that will go into political space of Nigeria and gain stride or actually, make a difference. Because all of them are corrupt, and if the system does not find you worthy of corruptible activities, you will never get there. Therefore, your economy will never ever grow. Your economy will continue to suffer from inflation. Your exchange rate will continue to, nothing to write home about, and everything your cost of living will not be affordable by you. And the rich will continue to get richer and the poor will continue to get poorer. Secondly, we have followed this trajectory. I have actually investigated this almost ever since I decided to wake up from my slumber to understand that, no, there is something wrong. And I started following this geopolitics and I started following the trajectory it goes and how they are handling the activities of the African problems. And you find out Burkina Faso is one of the best countries in Africa that is actually a potential place for investment. Potential place for investment in Africa. Now, think about it. All this while that this French military was there, they didn't gain ground. They didn't secure their borders. Yes, French military was one of the best in the world, fighting terrorism for them. American drone base was in the Niger Republic, actually following the terrorist activities. They were the best in the world. Now they couldn't, make any difference. But today, these guys are making difference on their own because no one will solve your problem except you yourself, who knows where you're wearing the shoe and how it pinches you. Therefore, I can categorically tell you now that if you are still rising up blindly and rallying behind these people who are causing chaos in the world, and they have built their bunkers where they are going to hide when they start WW3. And you will be here. Do you know how much a cup of rice will be for ordinary person in Nigeria? For those of you who say, we support them, we support them, we support them. Do you know how much a cup of rice or gari will be for you? Because you believe that it is happening that side. It is chicken dying. It is not human being dying. You believe it is chicken dying because I don't care when you lutebero. It never reach your doorstep. Now, intimidation of a nation. Every nation is supposed to possess their territorial integrity, and they are not supposed to be dictated on what they should do or not. It is like telling people to relinquish their culture and follow other people's culture. Now you see what is going on. We know that the US have more than 4,000 nuclear warheads. Israel has like 90 or 400. And they don't want Iran to have. Why? Because if America does not have, Israel does not have, Iran will not see a need to have. Because if America threatens them, they will not have a fear that one day somebody will nuke them and send them into extinction. So this is the place where you judge this issue. Not with your stupid emotions, not with your Stockholm syndrome. You judge it unbiased. And ask yourself what's going on. Because the same thing that is happening to them, tomorrow you will gain your freedom. The same thing is going to happen to you. Because you believe you are very intelligent. You are able to write, different articles to convince people the reason why they should continue to support violation of people with impunity. No. You should go back and do introspection and ask yourself whether or not this is supposed to be happening, because tomorrow it will happen to you. So let's stop following the people we have followed for the past 10 years. It is only a stupid man and woman who will see that they have tried a particular thing for the last 1 decade. Dude, 1 decade. A child is almost an adult. You try one tactics for this past decade, and then you continue to get the same result, and you are a fool to continue trying and neglecting your potential friends and continuously following your enemies due to what you suffer that is called Stockholm syndrome. If we bring it towards religious activities, we can understand that we know that religiously, or the book in the Bible passage that mention these people, we can understand that that people that was mentioned in that book has been there for centuries before the existence of these converts. We call them converts. Converts, C-O-N-V-E-R-T. Convert. Before 1948, when they converted and they replaced that people, which the same book told you that in Psalm 83, they gathered in one consent and make sure that this nation does not exist again. Remember that before in 1960s, or before the WW2, which was called by Mustache Man, which was caused by the man they call, the Mustache Man. And before that too, you will understand that almost every nation gathered against the Mustache Man. Ask yourself, who is the Mustache Man? You never ask yourself that. The Mustache Man cannot be European. But the European one they say as Mustache Man is the man they use as a decoy. Go back through the history, check the books the Mustache Man wrote. And you will understand that the Mustache Man can never be European. The real Mustache Man might even be like me and you, but they don't want you to know that me and you had that type of power in the past. The people who conquer rewrite history. That is, by the way, one thing we should understand is that the people you are praying, just because you saw it in the book that your religion claimed it is their book, you are praying to them. The God of these people, the master of these people, help them, help them. Their God is the one who actually helps them when they find trouble. That is their God. The United States is their God. Not the God, the creator God, because they don't believe in creator God. These people don't believe in creation. They don't believe in that. Forget what they use their mouth to profess. They profess that just because they know that religion and politics work hand in hand. That's why they profess that. They don't believe in Chukwokike. No. They believe in themselves and their weapons. That's why they have the varieties of them. It is you that believe in the Chukwokike that will know exactly. That's why you are following them, because they have make politics and religion work hand in hand, and they created these people to align with that passage in the Bible. But you never ask yourself, as a Christian who read the Bible but you never understood it, are you aware that the same Iran was written in the Bible? And if you see what they were, where they were written, you will know the reason why they are being prevented from having this weapon. Because that prophecy was written in the Bible. They were called the MEDES. Google what is called, or use etymology to discover what is called MEDES. Because you read Bible because your pastor tell you to read that verse. We read it for history and for future. Now, Google what is called MEDES. Etymology meaning of MEDES. Then you go and read it in the Bible, in the book of Isaiah. Their assignment to the world. Their assignment to the world is to end the oppressive regime. That is what is written in the Bible. And that is the reason why the oppressive regime does not want them to possess. Because they know the book more than you. But they politicize it and teach it the way you want them to teach it to you. I am going to teach you. Let me be precise and give you the verse so that you will read it and know the ancient names and correlate it with the current names. Because those of you who are typical Christian who don't know what is written in your book, okay, if you are watching me, go to your book, the Bible now, read Isaiah 13 verse 17. Isaiah 13 verse 17. Then you will find out that name, MEDES. Go back to your etymology, find out the meaning, and read what it says that it will use them to do. And now bring the resolve why they are preventing them. Because they will tell you that that book is bullshit, you should burn it, but they know what is written there. And they know how what is written there is manifesting. But they use decoy. They created a decoy to manipulate you and manipulate your brain so that you follow Christianity. You don't understand exactly what is the real thing. Should I say it again? Isaiah 13:17. Read it. Read it. Then come back to me and see the reason why what is happening. You are actually being a resistance over your freedom. You are resistant. You are a resistance over your freedom. That's one thing you are doing and claiming, hey, don't say it loud. They shouldn't hear it. They shouldn't hear what? They shouldn't hear me condemning act of, violation of human right. They shouldn't hear it. That I am condemning the same thing the ICJ, International Court of Justice, has condemned. Then when I say it, you say they shouldn't hear it. Our people are crazy. Like, seriously. United Nations condemn these activities. Nations and the world leaders condemn these are their activities. And when I condemn it, you say, no, we're not supposed to be saying it loud. Because we are not part of this world. And they are potentially going to help you. For the past 10 years, they couldn't help you. You have nothing to lose. Tell them that they cannot beat a child and ask them not to cry. The imperialist power that we are actually suffering today is well orchestrated and being promoted and preserved by the same people. And every violence in the world that is being carried out, your resources is the one they use to create the weaponries that they use to carry out these things. Children are doing mining in Congo, cobalt, all kind of resources, uranium and everything. In the north, you have uranium, you have all type of resources. That's why they have established Boko Haram to be there, so that they will buy it on black market, using it to replenish their armories. And you are here telling us to keep quiet because they are killing chicken or intimidating chicken. I can categorically tell you, brothers and sisters, wake up. If I rallied around these people for 10 years, 1 decade, and I had gained nothing, if I say to them that if I call them out for the wrong things they are doing, I have nothing to lose. If you are calling them out, continue to call them out. You have nothing to lose. Let's now depend on God, the Creator, to give us freedom. Because that's the only thing. Since you don't have hope other than hoping on the people who place you in captivity, it is better you depend on God. Go and kneel down and start praying. Because for you to depend on your creator of problem to be the solver of your problem, you are going from one problem to another. Remember, during the olden days, we suffer what is called physical and the brutal colonization and slavery. Today, what we are suffering from is what is called systemic. I can use myself, they can use me to oppress me without me knowing. That's what we are suffering. Initially, they oppress us by themselves with us knowing. But this time around, they use ourselves to oppress ourselves. That's why Bob Marley say, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. That is exactly the meaning of that word. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, you go back to school. Every lie that has been told, every manipulations, history erasure, name erasure, all these things had happened to us by the same people, yet we continue to rally about them because we are sick. You are sick if you continue to follow these people, believing that Messiah will come out of the devil who caused your problem. Something is wrong with you. Call out the problem for what it is, because soon you will be standing alone with these people, clamoring for Iran is a terrorist state. Iran is a terrorist state. That is what you will be shouting, because you have Boko Haram, which is Muslim. That's why religion. The same people who created Islam created Christianity. The same people, Council of Nicaea, in 325 AD, they created Islam. They created these two religions to use it to divide and put confusion in the world. No, because he's an Islam, he deserves to die. Because he's a Christian, he deserves to die. That's what you are telling yourself. Do you know what it means that you are actually going about your business? It's the only house you have or the only home you have all of a sudden was bombed, and you have to now run away for your life. Do you know what that means? For no good reason. The people who are orchestrating all these things, they are safe. They have made contingencies plan in case if it affects in their area, they will go and hide in their bunkers. Nothing will touch them. And you as a coward, you want to tell me, no, I should support them because they will give you freedom. Bullshit. That freedom that they will give, go to hell. Because they will never give you freedom. The same freedom they give you in 1960. That is the type of one they will give you. Because they only know how to create a systemic oppression. That is the type of freedom they are born to give you. Not the type of freedom that Russia is supporting Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali to obtain. No, not that type of freedom. I don't want to move from a Nigeria freedom and move it to another Nigeria freedom that is actually controlled by a neo-colonial agenda. No, I don't want it. If you want it, good for you. But that's not freedom. It is moving from frying pan to fire. And you will be saying, you yourself, the same person of you, will be saying, oh, I know that Igbos cannot rule themselves. That is what you will start saying. I know that Igbos cannot rule themselves. Igbos are a problem. This and that. Hey. You don't know that it is the system that established that will make you not to rule yourself. But if you get your freedom independent of external influence or external force, you make a decision that will enable you to govern and achieve freedom. Otherwise, you are going nowhere. I don't want you to like me. I don't want you to like my style of politics or style of strategic politicking. I don't want you to like it. I don't want you to like my style of understanding geopolitics. But all I want you to take home today is that the people who created your problem will not be the solution to your problem, except if you are actually sick with Stockholm syndrome. I rest my case. Until we meet again. Stay safe. I see you guys that are here. Chooks Duke Bueni, Saint Obedient, and Onyi Best, William. I salute all of you. Those of you who are watching from other platforms, I salute all of you. Thank you for joining. Kindly like the video, share the video. If you like the gospel, like the video, share the video for the algorithm to get this gospel to our people and stimulate the mind of our people to understand that the journey that we have embarked on is not the journey that will end tomorrow. It's not the journey that will end next tomorrow. It is not the journey that Simon Epa will wake up and tell you, I know when Biafra will come. Nobody knows. It will just come like a miracle, just like Nnamdi Kanu said. That is it. If you are hoping that Biafra will come tomorrow, you will give up next tomorrow. But if you are hoping that it doesn't matter when it comes, we continue to push, you will never give up. And that is exactly how I want to stimulate your mind, because you are hoping that without these people, no one else will help you to achieve your freedom. They can never help you to achieve your freedom. None of them will ever help you. They will help you to go into another captivity. And you blame yourself for that. Bye for now.